Hey guys, my name is BobLyn and welcome to my trophy grinding guide. I will today be trying to explain to you how you can grind trophies more effectively, how you can get Legend League every month and reap the rewards that the season leagues provide. There's some quite good rewards from getting Legend League every month. You get some free XP, titanium, silver, all the good stuff. Now, as you can see, and as many of you know, I have grinded rank 1 this month, so I thought it would be a good time for me to explain how I go about this. And you can see the rewards here, and that's just for reaching the Legend League. That is not even tied to leaderboards in any way. But you get this, good camo for grinding. It gives 50% XP and 50% silver, which is awesome. So, when you're grinding Legend League in the beginning, I remember when I started playing, I found it hard because the ships I was playing were low tier ships. And as you can see, the tier 10s give 40 in their first win. While a tier 5 doesn't give 40, it doesn't get nearly that much. I think it's 5 or something. So, to elaborate on that a little bit more, I have checked out all the amount of trophies you gain from the different tiers, so here they are, and the only one I'm unsure of is the Tech Tree Tier 7 one, because I didn't have a Tech Tree Tier 7, so I didn't want to spend a lot of free XP just to check that. But anyways, it's easy to see that the higher the tier, the more the trophies. Now, of course, when you get to the higher tiers, tier 8 to 10, I would say, also tier 7, it gets very difficult because there's a lot of premiums, there's some difficult aircraft carriers to play with, Sansang, Saipan. Oh, there's so many at tier 8. Tier 8 is definitely the hardest tier, but that's why I say you start really gaining trophies, and it's easier to actually reach Legend League when you have a tier 8. So my first tip is going to be tied to the trophies you saw on picture just before on screen. That is the first win you can get, and once you've gotten a win on that ship, it's going to go down to a lower amount of trophies. It doesn't say, it's just tied into the system of how the game actually awards you trophies. Now I'm going to get into that later, but this is my first tip: get your first win, because this bonus you get is really nice, and if you don't do as well in the game as you might have done other times, this first win bonus is going to make sure you don't lose trophies in a win. That can happen too, we've all tried it. But yeah, that's my first tip, and that's really important, and that's how I actually gained rank 1, is just by getting first wins on all my ships, all my tier 10s. You can see if you get, let's say 150 to 200 trophies on 30 different ships, it amounts to a lot of trophies in the end of a day. Of course, that is a lot of playing, and the average person doesn't play that much, but you're not grinding for rank 1, you're just trying to reach 12k trophies, which is the Legend League threshold you need to get to in the month. And trust me, it's not that hard actually. It is really not that hard, but there are some things that you can do to help gain that amount of trophies. Let's get into tip number 2. Now my next tip is you need to grind a tech tree. You saw in the charts or in how many trophies you gain that you gain the most trophies at tier 8 to 10. And I am of the firm belief that this game is, if you want to really learn it and get experience with this game and ships in general of World of Warships, you need to play at tier 8 to 10. Because that's where it's really, the most difficult. There's the most good ships, overpowered ships, especially at tier 8. Now, I prefer playing at tier 10 simply for the fact that tier 8, man, sometimes it can be very try-hard, very sweaty. You got the CV divisions, you got the Kaga, it's the tier 7, there's some dangerous CVs there, but my tip will still be, play that tier. Get smacked sometimes, man. It's good learning experience, it really is. So find a tech tree and grind all the way to tier 10. Find your line. It might take time to find the perfect ship. You don't know if you're a BB, DD, or cruiser player, but that is very important if you want to be consistent and gaining trophies, is finding something you're comfortable with, something you're decent at, and something that has, a learning curve of sorts. Every tech tree becomes a different experience, not every tech tree upgrade or tier is that different, but once you get from tier 6 to 10, there's a huge difference, which is awesome to try also, and I recommend it. So for tip number 3, it is play for the team. Guys, this is a team game. You need to start playing for the win, and that means helping your team. So for me, in my case, I'm a cruiser player. In this gameplay, for example, I need to defend the base. There's DDs trying to cap our base. There's a Sumo also, and a Jinan. So for me and the cruiser here, the Neptune, it's our job to make sure that the base is secured, and we have to hunt DDs. We also have to support our BBs, and that's very important. So you need to play for the team. You don't go flanking. So when I see a Shimakaze that goes flanking to kill the CV, and trust me, when it's a bot, it's even more infuriating because it just helps not. It doesn't help that much. You want to be making sure that you're providing support for your team. That's also how you gain the most points, the most team points. You see up in the top right side corner, there's, you know, where the damage is. You have your ships sunk, and then you have your team points. I have 145 right now. Killing planes, spotting, capping, damaging, tanking, everything you do in this game, except flanking, sailing around, doing nothing, gives you points. And if you reach 300 team points, which is the maximum, you will most likely not be losing trophies. And that's very important. So you will gain more trophies overall if you play for the team and help your team. Thank you for the kill, Nautilus. Nice try capping the base, guys. I just had to comment on this. This is a very great gameplay, and I mean, this was insane. Anyways, I want to talk about the whole way the trophies work and how you gain and lose trophies. So in World of Warships Blitz, you can actually lose trophies even though you win the game. It all ties into how much you actually contributed to the team. It ties into your damage, it ties into your assists, and how much, you know, damage you've taken. If you don't deal that much damage during a game, you can actually, if you're just tanking a lot, that also helps. So, like I said in my tips, you want to be helping your team. You want to be close to your team. You don't want to be alone and flanking. World of Warships Blitz is a team game. It's not a solo game by any means. And you will feel that if you play for yourself. If you play selfishly, then you will probably lose a lot more trophies on wins, or at least not gain as many as you can. As you see there, we get 210, but that was a really good game also. That's for tier 10 tech trees. And that was without the first win. So you can see 210 trophies without a first win. That's because we played for the team, and it also paid off. It ends up being very nice. You get a ton of trophies. So we're moving on to the next game here, which is a Goonaloo gameplay. It's just gameplay, guys. Nothing to talk about there. But the trophy system is very fair, actually. And it's one of the best I've ever seen in a game that has a ranking system. The only problem is that it rewards the player who plays the most. So, for example, a CV player, and I'm going to break it right here. I haven't talked about CVs at all. I mentioned them. You know, to grind trophies at least. The CV is the best class because you can get matched against bots very easily. And if you team up with a party of 2 other people, so 3 in, you know, a maximum squad, you can get bot games even easier. I don't really like doing that. I find bots boring, but to be fair, it's in the game, and if you want to do that, cool. I mean, I respect a Surfers player who gets at least, you know, a good amount of trophies more than a CV player, just by the fact that I know they haven't faced as many bots. But sure, if you really want to get to the Legend League fast, if you play a CV, that's going to help you a bunch. Now, when you're playing a BB, a DD, and a cruiser, you need to be, like I said, focusing on the team. The reason that CVs also just gain a lot of trophies, they rarely lose, is because they spot so much. You see the spotting medal up in the scoreboard. I have 1. I think they give around 15 or 20 or 10 team points. So you can imagine when they get like 10 to 15 spotting ribbons, they get a lot of points just by that, almost half. So you gotta keep that in mind, and if you really want to grind trophies, well, then I gotta break it down to you. It's CVs, man. They are really good at farming trophies. That's pretty much their thing. So the next tip is gonna be play with friends and find a fleet. Now, I actually also think you should play solo because sometimes the matchmaking actually gets you better matches when you're playing solo. You won't face other teams as much, and you might, you know, also miss the occasional CV game. But playing with a team and playing with friends ensures you that at least 2 people on your team you know somewhat, and you know that they can play for themselves and they can help the team. I really enjoy playing with my fleet mates, and that's why I also encourage you to find a fleet, an active fleet that plays. It doesn't have to be the best fleet, just that some people that play, once or twice a day, and some people you can clock some games in with. And that's pretty much it. I started in the Corsairs, beginner fleet or recruiter fleet. It's called Raid. It used to be called A2R, but you don't need to start in the biggest fleet. And actually, I don't think you even should try applying, because you won't get accepted when you have 10 battles, 20 battles. So get some battles under your belt and really, learn the game and watch videos. I recommend you watch Terry and Sly. Sly and Terry have some really good videos with statistics and beginner talks. And if you want to watch some cruiser gameplay, you can always watch my channel. There's also Pigbay, who is a great DD player, and DFA is a great CV player. We got lots of YouTubers, and there's more, that I could mention. But if you really want to get into the meat and potatoes of this game, you also gotta watch YouTube. That's like a bonus tip. But yeah, tip number 4 is play with friends and find a fleet. It's really important, and you can move up in the ranks in a fleet just by playing and being, a loyal member who's a good guy. It's a really good community, and that's why I love this game. Remember, I'm playing on an expensive gaming PC, and I have other games I could be playing, like Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. But I don't know. I just don't find them fun. The community in this game is what I really love, and the game itself is super fun and it's engaging. So let's hop on to tip number 5. And the final tip is, if the game is lost, farm and survive. So in World of Warships Blitz, you can end up being the 1 or 2 last ships on your team, and your enemy team is still, going strong. I recommend you in that situation to be an asshole, basically, and just sail away and start farming damage. It's super annoying and it wastes people time, but the way it works in this game, the longer you stay alive, if you're the last guy who gets sunk, you will gain more trophies because you were the least liability, the lesser of liabilities in your team, I guess. And you want to farm damage too, because at that point you're gonna, be losing the battle anyways. So farm as much damage as you can, because it's gonna help you not lose trophies in the end. So it's pretty simple, and it is a little bit selfish, but it's the reality of how it works. And if you really want to get Legend League every month, you have to be thinking that way. Start by thinking of your team and how we can win the game. Get the caps, support your friends and your teammates. If you have AA, support your BBs and your DDs with your AA, stuff like that. But when you realize, okay, this one's this one's done for, we can't fix this one, you start farming damage and just trying to hang on. If you survive the battle, it's even better. It's even better if you survive. You will not lose as much, because again, you weren't a liability for your team in the sense of points. Every ship is assigned a certain number of points. DD gives the least and CV gives the most, and it goes up: DD, cruiser, battleship, CV. So to conclude this video and kind of, state my argument, I think you should be grinding the Legend League, at least, getting to that 12,000 threshold to get 20k free XP, some silver, and resources to maybe spend in the shipyard. This is the best way for a free-to-play player to grind resources and, move along in the game, get more ships and stuff like that. So if you want to, have an easier time in this game, getting into Legend League is super important, at least in my opinion. Now, I'm going to make a video on how to grind rank 1 and the leaderboard in general. That's going to be like for more advanced players that have played the game a lot and have maybe thought of actually wanting to get that top 100 placement or top 10 placement at some point. The good thing about grinding that, and I will elaborate and show how many resources, how much free XP, how my stats look after a month of playing pretty much every day. So while I played, I can tell this here, in the first 14 days of February, I averaged 10k trophies per day, which means I had 140,000 trophies at the 14th of February. That's my record, and it's absolutely insane, as Slapmare Exorcist here, who is number 3 or number 2 in the leaderboards, takes the win and takes me out. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you learned something, all you new players. I believe we have gotten an influx of new players, which is awesome. It's great. The game grows, it's really good. And I am so thankful that you watched this video, and maybe you will get your first Legend League placement, or got some tips that makes it, a little bit more easy for you. And yeah, I mean, look at that. Slap Max Assist with 161,000 damage in the Vermont. Wow. GG. Great game. I remember this one. This was a fun game. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really hope it helped, like I said, and I'm gonna be releasing a guide very soon about how I go about reaching rank 1, or at least grinding the leaderboards. My name has been BobLyn. I really hope you enjoyed, and I am signing out.